Ready? Welcome to Help Me Help Mama Live. I'm Cindy Orlachek-Jones. Today I am joined by a special guest, Diane. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Cindy.
You're welcome. Diane has a special story. She has been where many of you are now, and she is now where many of you are going.
That's correct.
So,
Sure is.
if you will, Diane's mom is in a skilled facility here in town, but I want to take you back to the very beginning. Mom and Dad lived together. How far away from here?
70 miles. 70 miles.
70 miles. And Dad passed away. When Mom became a widow, you'd go down and see Mom about once a week.
I did, once a week.
Okay. Not long after that, Mom was diagnosed.
She was diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
Okay. Once she was diagnosed, that took us to Journey Stop 1. Remember Journey Stop 1? 1 to 3 hours a day, driving 70 miles down there to check on Mom, do what Mom needed to be done, and then coming back.
That's correct.
How many times a week?
Oh, 3 times at least. 3 times. And
3
then
times a
my
week.
mother checked. My brother checked on her the other days.
Very fortunate to have a brother that lived real close to Mom. And who else lived there? Lived close?
Cousin
A cousin.
lived behind her and would check on her and would call her when I couldn't get her on the phone, which was a real help to me. And she would come over and spend time with her through the day, just to be sure that she was dressed, because a lot of times she would go out just in a thin gown. One time when I was over, she even went out in a thin gown. She was chasing a cat and got in the mud and fell over. But she was determined to go and do that on her own, but she wasn't dressed warmly enough. But yes, my cousin checked on her.
Okay. And then, moving a little bit farther down the scale, we're headed toward Journey Stop number 2. So Mom comes to live with you.
That's correct. Yes, she did.
For how long?
She lived there with my husband and myself for 3 years. And that was a new adjustment for us. We made a room for her and brought her things over, things that made her feel at home, her pictures, her chairs, and just set that up for her. But now one of her favorite chairs she wanted in the living room, so that's where she sit most of the time. And she had a small boom box where she liked to listen to cassette tapes, and we had a stool, and that sat on the stool, and she would play music through the day. And sometimes it was a little loud, and my husband would come through and he'd say, "Can we turn it down?" But yeah, she was pretty content there. And she would go with us to the boys' activities, soccer, basketball, baseball. She was slow getting around, but she could walk, and we just took our time and would get seated. But it was a good time, other than there wasn't a lot of privacy for my husband and me. And I had to get up early because she got up early.
It changed things, didn't it?
It changed things. It sure did for that time. We wouldn't take anything for that time we had there, though, with her at the house. But it did get difficult. And sometimes it was hard if we wanted to go somewhere. She couldn't always go at night, and so that made it difficult. I would have to stay home. And my husband would have rather me being able to go at those times.
Sure.
Occasionally someone would come sit with her at night. And then I finally had to get someone and pay someone by the hour to come so that I could do the things I needed to do. And then occasionally, like I said, we'd want to go out, my husband and I, and she would stay through that time. And sometimes you just need some respite and rest time.
Okay, repeat that.
Sometimes you need rest and respite time, like. So one year in June, we asked one of the nursing homes here in Cabot if they had a spot for 2 weeks, because my husband and I really wanted to go to the beach. And they said they did. And so I went down there and stayed the 2 weeks, and I did not feel guilty. Now, I thought about her every day, and my daughter checked on her, but it was my time. And it was
Absolutely.
important. It was important.
Absolutely. You caregivers need to know this.
Yes.
We talked about this yesterday. You don't feel guilty. That's just more stress on your body. Know that your loved one is being taken care of while you are getting respite.
That's correct.
You came back reinvigorated.
Oh,
didn't you?
yes. Oh, yes. And she had a great time through that experience.
She was around a lot more people.
Yes, my mother's a people person.
There you go. So during this time, you got some training on Alzheimer's and how to interact. Tell us about that.
Oh, I did. Because I had read Frank Broyles' playbook. Someone recommended me get that book, and I did. And that was very beneficial. But then the Alzheimer's Association, they had some conferences in different locations and had special experts in the area of Alzheimer's. And I was able to go and do those. My daughter even joined me on a couple of those. And they were very beneficial, showing diagrams, speaking about the physical aspects of how my mom's brain was working and what it looked like. And then Tippa Snow came here in Cabot.
Yes.
We had that great honor to have her, and she really demonstrated how it feels to be someone in that position. So we had some great training, and it was really beneficial. And I encourage anyone who has the opportunity, if y'all have the opportunity, those kind of conferences and workshops, they bring other people, caregivers, together, and you sit at a table while the speaker's speaking, and you realize that we're all in the same boat, and we've all either experienced it or we're going through the very same thing you are at this time. So I encourage that highly.
Tippa was very interactive.
Oh, yes. Yes. She had us doing all kinds of things, covering our eyes, putting something in her mouth, our ears, and then she would talk like the patient or resident there at a place. And then you would have to interact with her, what you would say. So she put us on on display a little bit, but it gave us a deeper understanding. Well worth it.
Okay, after your mom lived with you, she transitioned to a skilled facility.
Yes.
You said she didn't speak for about a year and a half.
That's correct. She didn't. We thought she wouldn't speak again. She just sit there. She wasn't unhappy particularly, but we would talk and carry on a one-sided conversation, and she would just sit there. It was like she was just had a veil on her or something and didn't speak. But then one day she started speaking, and since then she's been able to, she babbles, and I understand a lot of times what she is saying or trying to say, but a lot of people can't. And it is a constant kind of babbling or saying the same thing over and over. She likes to count numbers, and she'll get up to a certain point, then start over. But yes, it's wonderful to hear her voice again. It's a strong voice.
And she had been eating well.
She had been eating well, but this week she's beginning to want to push away from her food. When she lived with us, she ate fine, and she has so far at the long-term care facility until just the last few days.
And you said she's in a wheelchair now, so she goes up and down the halls. She likes to be where people are talking.
Yes.
And her legs are very strong.
Yes, very strong.
But her core strength is not so strong, and her arms are not. But her legs are.
They are.
Because she's in that wheelchair moving
Just
those legs. So imagine if you had a cycle here on the table, and you could be doing
Yes,
this.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah. Build up the arms.
Yes, any activity you can do. And the great-grandsons bring a balloon every time, and used to, she would engage with them and throw and hit the balloon back. Now she sits and just watches them and smiles, and they're so sad because she can't do that. But yes, try to keep every part of the body in motion as
Absolutely.
long as you can.
Okay. You mentioned that you live in constant fear of a call from the nursing home.
I do. I do.
That's got to be a lot of stress.
It's very stressful. So much stress. And a few times the nursing home has had to call me late at night just to let me know that she's had a scratch or something. It's never been anything major, but my heart just beats hard when I realize it's the nursing home's number, because I figure that she's taken a bad fall trying to do something on her own, or that she needs to be taken to the hospital for pneumonia or something like that. But every time it's been something minor, they just like to let you know when there's been any kind of bruise or skin
They
place.
have to do that, yeah.
Yes, that's what they need to do, and I appreciate that.
But it's been good so far. I mean,
Absolutely.
Nothing major.
It's been a good experience for us.
So you've had good interaction with the staff at the
Yes,
nursing home?
I make myself visible if I'm not there. My daughter goes. My brother comes every 2 weeks, unless I let him know I'm going to be gone camping for a day or two, and then he'll come on over and check on her, because he lives that 70 miles we were talking about a while ago. And sometimes I've even asked a friend to check in on her. So it's working out really well being there. She's not far from home. My daughter and I had a list, and we rated several places. We went to 13. And so as we rated them, then we went back and narrowed that number down to 3.
This is initially looking at
yes,
comparing
because
them.
my mother's been in the same facility for these nearly 5 years.
And she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 10 years ago.
Yes, 10
so
years
by
ago.
the time she was diagnosed, she probably had symptoms for a little while.
Yes.
So that's a long time.
It is a long time. My brother and I started looking back and realized through my dad's illness that she was already experienced the disease working on her, because she was not normal those 4 years. And we just kept thinking it was because Daddy was very sick, but apparently it was this disease working on her. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible disease, because I watched my dad with cancer, and that was hard, but it's been nothing compared to watching my mother be a different person, but yet her body's there.
It's hard.
And it is hard. And what you do is you come to grips with that, and you accept the person, whether it's your dad or mama or grandmother or aunt or your spouse, that they're that way now, and you form relationships that way with them. And so that really has helped us.
That's good.
We've been able to really come to grips with this is where we are, and we love it. Not that we love the disease, but we love that we understand that we have to accept her. And
that's beautiful. I like that.
Okay.
And you are her advocate
Yes.
in the skilled facility setting, but you're also her advocate when you take her to the doctor. Tell me about, you were talking about how you communicate for Mom.
I do. When she's been to the dermatologist, which it was several trips there, she's nervous because it's a different setting. And so I sit right by her, whether it's the dermatologist or whether it's a surgeon or just a MD, whatever we have to go to. And when she's had the dentist come to the nursing home, and then with her eyes, I hold her hand and I look and I explain to her just exactly what all we're doing there and what's going on. And so when they ask her questions, since she's the patient, they always do, and she just waits for me to say something. And so I say, I'm speaking for you, right? And she'll nod. And so then I say whatever needs to be said to the physician. But she's happy if I hold her hand and be close to her face. So that works well for us when we go out to one of the appointments she has.
You've done a great job caring for your mom.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for
Not
joining
easy.
us. It's not.
But it's a journey, just as Cindy would say.
Thank you for being the caregiver for your loved one. You're making a huge difference in their life. Thanks for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.